The SOLERA 10 is fitted with two EnerDrive chargers, the 40 amp DC to DC and the 40 amp AC. The DC to DC charger will be taking advantage of the 300 watts of solar panels on the roof, plus any portable panels if you choose to feed them in. It will also be taking charge from the car as you drive. The 40 amp AC charger is plugged into a power point under the bed, so when you plug into mains power, you'll be charging up your batteries. Under the bed, we also have fitted the 2000 watt inverter. We've dedicated a power point on the side of this down here, labelled it inverter only 2000 watt max. Simply turning the inverter on under the bed by a little push button on the back will enable us to use this power point here. Do make sure you turn it off when you are finished with using it, as it can draw power even when not in use. On the side of the seat in the SOLERA 10, we have our main isolation switch, so when the van's not in use, we can simply turn the power off. When we are ready to use again, turning the power back on, we have our DC distribution panel with everything labelled. Pump on switch 1, enabling us to use the water tanks. Shower fan, which will turn on the shower fan, little exhaust fan while using the shower. Shower light is the external shower light. Our lights on the roof and in the shower work just straight off the batteries as soon as they're turned on the little sensors on the lights. Outside light are your outside lights around the Annexe area, and your handle light is simply here, which turns on that, and a little floor light. Down the bottom here, we've got some little resettable breakers, so if anything tripped on one of the circuits, it will simply pop out, needing to be reset. Our voltmeter is telling us what voltage the batteries are at and what amps we are drawing. This will always tell us what amps we're drawing, whereas our DC to DC charger and our AC charger will give us a digital display of what we are putting into charge. Our two little gauges down here are our grey water gauge and our clean water tanks. We also have our radio. The Truma Ultra Rapid will either work through 240 volt main power or gas. When using the gas, we have to follow 3 simple steps. Gas bottle on, removing the cowl cover, and simply lighting inside. Now when we go to light, it's a little 3-way toggle switch down the bottom. We've got 60 degrees up, and middle is off, and 70 degrees down. We will select one of our temperatures, flicking the switch on. We'll hear the hot water system start to try to light up. Now when we first light this, if we've just simply followed the steps straight away, the gas may not have hit the hot water system in time, and we'll get a little red light fault down the bottom here. If we get this, we simply turn it back to the middle and relight. If it doesn't relight the second time, we'll try a third time. If the third time it has not lit, it's time to troubleshoot. Make sure you did remember to turn the gas bottle on, you have removed the cover. If you have followed these steps and it still hasn't lit, just go do something else in case there has been a gas build up in there and it simply will not light for safety reasons. Once the system has lit, we can simply leave it on, as this will need to relight each time the water goes below your desired temperature. On 240 volt, all we simply need to do is locate under the bed where the power point is and turn on while we're in mains power. Once we've switched on, the system will now heat up off an element. When you're finished using the Truma Ultra Rapid, you do need to drain the system if you're choosing to store this away. When you're finished, there's a little yellow toggle down the back that is in a horizontal position. We'll simply lift it up and drain the 14 litres out of the unit while storing. Okay, we're going to pull out the slide out kitchen here. So we're simply lifting our latch, sliding our lock across. Once it's out, we can drop down our legs. If you need a little adjustment, you can always put it back in on a little angle, tighten them off, tighten it off, and then lifting up to level it out. Opening up the 4-burner, putting our wind guards off to the side. Dish drying rack, we can open up our little pantry, our dish drying rack goes back, sink tap up. We've got our little cooking light here. Connection for that is in with our little air hose fittings, our little for our water, so we can slide them out here. We'll plug in our little light here, giving us cooking light now. And we've also got our hot and cold water connecting through into here and to. Once we're all hooked up, we'll plug in to our gas bayonet at the back. That's stored away at the back here. We'll get all our hose out. And we have our double bayonet at the back. Simply removing one, you can use the other one if you've brought along the baby Weber or a Barbie. Simply push, turn, and we are ready to go. The 4-burner is fit with a little D battery running the starter underneath. Simply push down, turn, and light. Now the kitchen sink is the only part not hooked up to the grey water. So underneath there is a little concertina pipe which simply can be pulled down and dropped into a bucket. When we are finished, simply packing everything away. Back up, undoing our water fittings. Do make sure when you've undone the water fittings that you do drain the line simply by moving on the mixer here, just in case there's any water in the lines, which there will be, so you don't pack it away under the bed. Pushing our fittings back in, undoing our kitchen light. That can all store back into here. Tap down. Drying rack locked into place. Our wind guards away. Locking down. Kitchen light down. Our legs back up. And our gas hose back into its little home. Push and turn. Simply just snake this end to end. It's got its own little housing unit in there, so just keep feeding end to end. Now the last thing you want to do is always check underneath in case when you've pushed your hoses in, something's hanging out at the bottom. So you can push that all nice back up. Our little pipe can sit back up as well. Once that's all up, just pushing in nice and slowly. One lock, two lock, and done. When opening the rear of the SOLERA 10, we need to first of all remove the pin. And there's another rear latch on the back. Once we've undone these, the tyre on gas struts will drop down. We can open our 3 latches, sliding our walls across. Making sure they're locked out to the side. 2 latches holding the bed base up. We've got 2 locks over the back, one here and your second one here. If you can't reach off the spare tyre, they're accessible from inside. The rear then folds out, locking into place, locking into place. You can lock these as well, so if you need to duck away for the day, it is all fully secure. We have 2 ways to get water in our lines here. We either have through our tanks or through mains water. With our tanks, we're simply removing the cover, feeding in our hose, whether it be food grade hose, filtered water in if you're wanting to use it as drinking water. In will go to our 2 tanks. They will transfer between the tanks, so do make sure that you are filling them completely up if you're wanting to take all the water, as that when the water transfers over, it may spit back out if the breather line has not had enough time to push the air out if you're feeding a high pressured hose. When you've got your desired amount, cap back on and using your pumps to pump water throughout the lines. If you're at a caravan park or plugged into mains water, taking off our little dust cover here, a little male threaded fitting that'll simply screw in, tightening up and putting our hose on. This way we don't have to use the pumps, we bypass the tanks, and the van will be, water will be pressured up through your town water. In this compartment we have the toilet cassette. This has its own tank which we fill up from this little funnel at the top. What we'll do is remove the cap, place another cap over the top so that we've got a higher filling point, as this is a pressurized fill. The gauge for this runs off the side, so we'll fill up until we have our desired amount if you're looking to top it up. Cap goes back on once you're full, hiding this piece back away, and you can shut the door. Now, you will not get signalled when you've run out of flush water, you will just run out, but you will get signalled inside on your toilet that it's time to empty the cassette. So to remove, we simply lift the little latch underneath and slide out, and it does slide out nice and easy. If you ever feel any resistance, you may have left the chute open inside. So just sliding out, it'll lock itself on the way out. We simply wheel away to where we need to go. Opening up, taking our cap off, and place that back here. Don't forget to take that off. Don't want to feed that down first. And then dumping, holding our little airlock, and out you go. You can give it a bit of a wash out when you're done, add some more chemical back in, placing our lid on, cap goes back on, and putting the cassette back away, which will open itself up, ready again for use. Okay, now we're going to roll out the awning, we're going to put the anti-flap kit on, and then we're going to attach all the walls. So our first step when rolling out the awning is winding out. And once we get this out, we simply can pull our legs out. So it's clipped in here and also into the pivot point up the top, and we swing our legs down, undoing the clip and feeding down. Same at the other end. Dropping down. Chuck your legs on a bit of an angle if you're by yourself, so you can just walk between. And when we get our perfect awning length, what we want to do is wind the legs out, watch the vinyl go floppy, twisting back, you'll feel it tense up, and just as the leg kicks back in, that's our perfect length there for this anti-flap kit. We can lower it down so we're working at head height. Okay, so with our anti-flap bar, we'll then put into the little bracket up the top here. What we'll do is stay on the inside of this leg, come on the outside, retracting the little lever, and there's a nut and bolt up here which it'll lock into place over the top of. We can then grab the little jaws that go over the top to pinch the vinyl. Now you just want to go up to the awning, not under it, up to that there, clipping into place, locking in. So it grabs all our vinyl. We grab our second jaw, goes over the top. And you'll see that it doesn't quite want to lock in here, so what we have to do is just lifting it up a little bit and locking in. That way, it's all grabbed in there. We'll do the same at the other end. Inside, just moving to the outside, retracting back and over the nut and bolt, over the top, up to the awning, clipping in, Slipping in, lifting up, locking in. Now the reason we also stayed on the inside until we just had to go to the outside is when we wind the awning in, when it locks into place, it uses this little awning as a guide to lock itself in. If we go out wide and snap that off, we're in trouble. So now what we're going to do is put all our sail track pieces in, put our draft skirts on and get ready to put the walls up. And that's the outside. Now our final steps are to adjust to our height. Putting on our little Velcro loops to hold it all into place. And just our 2 poles. Into place, and just one across the vinyl top. And then we have the full Annexe set up. And that's the SOLERA 10 handover. If you require any further information, please don't hesitate to contact one of our friendly staff.